Assalamu alaikum. Today, beautiful evening in Lahore. The date is 16th of January 2026. So, uh, I was discussing about correlation and regression, whereas correlation is kind of a relationship which might as well be spurious. For example, in the morning, I eat breakfast, which consists of an egg and two slices of bread. Maybe in Europe or in Milan, in Den Haag, in Amsterdam, in London, in New York, somebody might as well be having their breakfast with an egg and two slices of bread. Now, seemingly, my breakfast, having a breakfast in the morning, has no relationship with somebody having a breakfast in um, Europe or United States of America or Asia, some maybe sitting somewhere in China, Beijing. So that is if the relation which should be understood is that we all, if there is a correlation, it can at best explain that we are urban dweller. That's about it. But there is no relationship uh, which should represent dependency. For example, the relationship which having a breakfast for both me and somebody sitting somewhere else depends on our income, and that represents our consumption patterns. So, me having a breakfast depends on how much income I earn, or maybe it might depend on whether I do live in an urban area or a rural area, or I have access to a bakery. Things like these matter more for having me a breakfast with a egg and slice of bread. Whereas if I own an automobile and somebody else in, let's say, in Europe or United States of America or Latin America or Africa owns an automobile too, that correlation suggests a lot more robust relationship between me having an automobile and somebody else having an automobile. It would This correlation would tell that we belong to middle income status. That is kind of a more of a approximate value of dependency ratio. Whereas still my owning of automobile is not really linked with anyone else owning an automobile. You don't own an automobile because somebody else has an automobile. It really depends on your income profiles. If you have a latest model Tesla, it will represent not only your taste in automobiles, but it would represent your preferences that you, instead of taking public transport, you own an automobile and you drive for work or for entertainment. Whereas more significantly, it will depend on what kind of a job profile you have and what kind of income you have. So, correlation, for example, appears to be more spurious in nature when I'm talking about me having a breakfast with a slice of bread and an egg with somebody else. Whereas owning an automobile, this correlation interprets some economic behavior. Whereas to really think about it, it is the income which really finds the direction between having an automobile and having a breakfast, for example. And that is what regressions do. They basically interpret the dependency ratios and the relationship between variables, that how they are related with each other and which variable depends on another. And then we construct mathematical and algebraic equations and work through systematic systems of equations to interpret multivariate analysis where there are more than one, two, or multinomial variables.